And there we go, Dad.
Hey guys, how you doing? Boy, we've been inundated with snow and ice, and maybe I take the opportunity to talk about how that affects business, and it does, man. I was so relieved though. I was stuck overnight in a house, my nephew's house, here in Massachusetts. Didn't have a chance to get down to the shop, and I have other stores around me, but I was so happy this morning to see somebody has shoveled me out. I owe them a debt of gratitude because the ice is unbelievable here. I know that compared to the south with the floods, we got off easy, but it does affect even these little ice storms, if you want to call them that, do affect business. Delays people from coming out, and today I tried to do some loose ends at the shop. I'm here now in Maynard. I was in Arlington, now I'm in Maynard. And I'm kind of excited about Maynard too. I want to talk about Maynard, Massachusetts a little bit too. Hi Malcolm, how you doing? And
Sorry, I missed you last week, Malcolm. I was actually traveling back from the west, the middle of the Midwest, South Dakota, and I'm lucky I didn't bump into any storms while I was
you
out.
you actually looked at your weather map to do that too.
Yeah, it was
So
close.
for the first time, for instance, today's been a crazy day. I didn't have the GPS on, Patrick, he's asking if it was a good trip.
It was smooth, very smooth.
And so I decided to go to 128, Patrick. I was on 128 from Route 2 to Route 20 for about 30 minutes, which is only a couple of miles, you
Is that a
guys.
storm you were?
Because of no,
Oh.
just coming down here.
Oh.
And didn't have the GPS, so I was stupid, right? For the first time, I didn't use it. I even use it. It's so bad now. I'm using it locally. Can you believe that? Even though I know where I'm going, right? Anyhow, so another thing I want to talk about running a shop. About square footage and what I've had two love seats since June in the shop, and it's one excuse after another from the client. She had a leak in the roof. She had mold. It was one thing after another. Meanwhile, I have these two love seats. The skirts are taped up. They're covered in plastic. The cushions are covered. They need, if I really off the top of my head, I'm talking about maybe 32 to 40 square feet of floor. That's a lot when you're talking about a shop that only has 500 square feet up top. In my actual workspace in my showroom. So I can't pile these on top of one another because they've been finished. And I at one point I asked the client, "Can I put it on the window and display it?" No, I don't want it to get faded. Not that it would in such a short time.
Talking about this.
Well, no. Well, what do you mean? It's not a bad thing. She's just. I'm not mad at her or anything like that. It's just life. Life happens, right? And Malcolm says you have to charge storage fees
Yeah, I know, we've heard
3
that before.
days.
I think Randy was the last one.
3 days after the work is done. I know. To me, it's I get I get caught with people. It's like it wasn't like they said to me, "I need you to keep these until in 9 months." I've had them 9 months. It was like, "Hey, are you ready for the delivery?" No, they had another problem and another problem. I don't know. You're right, though, from a business standpoint, Malcolm, it's probably the right thing to do. Anyhow, I have some questions here that. I wanted to talk about Maynard, Patrick, about Maynard, the little town that we're in here, doing our YouTubes, and also we have some storage here. Speaking of storage, not much.
Not for furniture, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's a great little community. It's near me where I live, and it's like 15 minutes away at the most. It's got like it's an old mill town in New England, and it's got the old mills enormous. You should see this thing; it's enormous. And it's from what I understand, it's only they redid the whole thing. It's only 60% occupied, but I always thought that they could do more with this place, like a little village or something. I don't know, but the town, the downtown, which is nearby the mill, is really cute because they got these houses along some of the streets. They're all the same houses, but they're like little gingerbread houses almost, and they're kind of cute. They were the housing for people who worked at the mill, and then there are little side streets. I keep discovering these little side streets off the main street, and you get a different view of the town, and it's kind of cool. They've got their own it's called the Fine Arts Movie. We're actually in a building called the People's Theater, right, Patrick? That used to be a theater. and they renovated this. There's a lot of renovation going on in this town. It's nice that they keep, and they put these little plaques out saying what it was, what it started its life as, and kind of fits into the upholstery, the antiques that we do nicely. So anyhow, Gene's been a great contributor. Oh, Malcolm says that's crazy. I would have sold him by now. I know. I'm a sucker. What can I say? Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to excuse me today. I'm gonna be drinking a coffee while I'm doing this. No, I've just been busy. We haven't had time to do much. I had the shop was busy for President's Day, for a holiday was busy. I had a customer come in, 10 cushions that I had new down feather cushions that I had waiting for them to come in. So I had to change those out. That was a workout, Usually when I do that, I finish them, have the customer come in with the cushions, I tell them to go have lunch or something, which they did. And they came back, they were all ready. That was a workout. As you guys know, if you guys fill cushions, you know that it can be a workout. You can't have two people fill a cushion. Do we have a YouTube video on that, Patrick?
I think we do.
How to fill a cushion properly. It's only a one person job.
I think it was you and Jimmy wrestling over the cushion.
Yeah, no. I have an upholstery friend of mine who's got short arms and he can't fill cushions.
Not Jimmy, is it?
No, not Jimmy. But Jimmy might be a little too rough. You have to have big hands and you have to be strong, but you also have to have the knack to do it. So if you look at the YouTube video, it shows you how to do it, to open the zip, to take it out first of all. But you have to fold the cushion. Sometimes you have a spring unit that you have to fold. You actually have to fold it and hold it with one hand. The reason two people can't do this is because the person who's pulling the cover always pulls it too hard and you break a zipper. So you always have to be careful. You guys should check that out. That's pretty fun video to watch. Now, Malcolm, I think Malcolm suggested to use a vacuum and some plastic for the foam. You could do that, but you can't do that on a spring cushion. So I do spring cushions too. And I used to have this machine. Call it a machine. It didn't have any motor or anything like that, but it was a cushion filler. It was a big metal contraption that took up a lot of, speaking of space, had a pedal on it. You guys can visualize this. You cranked it up, crushed the cushion, put the cover over the metal, and then you undo the cushion. You undo it a little bit, not too much because you break the zipper. And then there's a foot pedal. And it's a chiropractor's dream, this machine, because you have to lift your leg up and exert, your right leg usually, and you exert pressure down like that, and the cushion comes out. And let me tell you how many people have thrown backs out on this machine. I haven't seen one of these things for a long time. So I'm the machine. I'm the one that fills the cushion. So I did a little bit of an exercise today. People say, "Don't you exercise?" No, I exercise during work. Thank you very much. Right, Patrick?
Yeah.
We lifted a sofa. Tell them about that sofa. Tell them about Lee's here too.
It's very difficult.
Tell them about how heavy do you think that was?
I couldn't say. I wouldn't know.
I could take a guess. Malcolm, it was the highest. It was the weightiest sofa. I think they must have used wood from the old Ironsides. Oak. They must have had 4x4 oak pieces in this thing. Really, it weighed a ton. I would say conservatively 300 pounds. Patrick? Wow. I'd say 300.
No.
Yeah. Yep. I know. Between the two of us, I was struggling. Malcolm says it's probably timber framed. That's probably right.
It'll last forever.
Oh, and this is like the fifth recovering, so it probably did come from the USS Constitution. Who knows? Anyhow. Let's get to some of the questions. Jean, thank you, Jean, for being a top contributor. She earned that right. What does it take to
She posts so much cool stuff that I feel bad we never able to address all of it because there's so much.
Well,
how she's doing all that.
Keep it coming, Jean. How does one become a top contributor?
By posting a lot.
Yeah, but is there a certain amount of number or something that comes with it?
That I don't know.
Well, anyhow, she's got 2 chairs that she shows it before and after, and we love that, before and afters. And is there any way for me should I show this to people, Patrick?
Yeah, if you can flip it around, if you get it in front of the camera, we'll do that.
These are 2 almost armless chairs. They do have a little arm. They're side chairs. I say almost armless, as you can see why. These are a little tricky, these chairs. The cuts around the arms, and I don't think I have a YouTube video. I'll read what she says. I bet she had a little trouble with this. But those cuts around the arms, around the seat, can be a little tricky. They're very, very let's say it's the word I'm looking for, dainty. So on the back side, see if I can point. It's kind of hard pointing on camera, isn't it, Patrick? The weather people do it right. Right in this area back here. Now, you guys have seen these cuts. If you watch the YouTube videos, I do have cuts on how to cut this back area here. So it's a series of one, two, the size of this, it's usually the size or the width of, not quite, of this post, horizontal post, and then another cut this way. Oh, this is hard. This is funny. Another cut diagonally. I can't do it. Diagonally from the seat, you guys. And then there you get a little tail section that you have to run through the back, and then the rest goes through the outside arm. And the reason it's not much of an arm, so you're really cutting. That's the trick, right? You're really cutting the arm portion here. The seat's easy. It's just a 90-degree angle, 45-degree angle cut. You fold your fabric at 90-degree angle on the seat back here, and then cut 45. Don't cut too much, as you know, you've seen the videos. The seat's the easier cut. It's the inside arm that's the hard cut. You don't have much. You don't have much showing here, so you have to actually cut all cuts. You know, you have to cut it away from where you're actually cutting. I don't know. You guys should check it out. It's hard for me to describe it. It's better to show it, but you know what I'm saying. So let's read what she says. See if she had any challenges with this. So Jean says, it's called, by the way, it's Jean Billingsley Upholstery. Do you know where she is, Patrick? Just a little call out to her. Huh? Jean, make sure you tell us where you may have at one time if you're up watching. Why don't you mention it in the comment section? But anyhow, we like to the shout out to our upholstery friends because we're all in this together, right, guys? She says finished one of the two formal dining room chairs. Okay, so these are, I call them, they were probably host and hostess chairs, and she can elaborate on that. Does she have side chairs, other chairs that are more of like a slip seat? So a lot of times we have host and hostess that sit on either end of the dining table, and then maybe six side chairs, or eight, or four. I don't think there's any more than that. But did not use curvies. Hand sewn all the pieces that needed it to the piping, welting, cording. As long as you use, if you're going to be hand sewing to cording, and I'm sure Jean did this, but she doesn't mention, I don't think, no, she didn't. You have to use that cardboard tack tape to hold the welting so that it doesn't move on you the Curvies does that. The Curvies does two things for you. It tightens the welt, and it folds the fabric. Hey, you guys, speaking of this, I had a cool project the other day. It was an original mid-century piece, really expensive side chair. And believe it or not, what they had before Curvies, mid-century people were the first ones to close up outsides. This is interesting, Malcolm. I bet you guys will find this interesting. To close outsides, as Patrick yawns back there. To close outsides, before Curvies, the hand stitching was the only option. They had straight edge too, but even before that, the only option would be nails or hand stitching. And they didn't want nails in that mid-century because that's old fashioned. They didn't want the decorative tack, and you can't. This was leather. You can't hand stitch leather. I don't care how good you are. You can't hand stitch the way we hand stitch leather to welting or to the inside back. Anyhow, they had something very clever, and it's always amazed me how people come up with these clever things. They actually had lead. Do you know the quality of lead, Patrick? It was a strip of lead about 2 inches wide, and they folded the lead. And I took the lead after I took it off. The lead is almost like putty. It's not exactly like Michaela. You might know this because you know materials, right? Have you ever worked with lead before? Do you know when you go to get an X-ray, they put a lead suit on you?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? How heavy it is? And how it's somewhat flexible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, this lead felt like putty, not quite, but what they did was they tacked one side down, folded it where they needed to fold it, and then put the leather in it like we do with Curvies. And you wouldn't believe how this looked closed. It was perfect. No welting. It closed up to the inside. The inside back's coming around. This was the outside back. I saw that once before, and I'd forgotten about it, but that's so clever, isn't it, you guys? And then Lee says, now I'm just starting to take apart the bottom of a sofa. I think it's from the 1930s or Art Deco era. It's needing lots of new burlap and fabric. I love these old sofas and chairs that curve in the front. Yeah. Some styles never go out. I have two open arm Parson, fully upholstered Parson chairs at the shop from the 40s, and they look as relevant or as cool today as they did when they made them. You could just visualize Fred Astaire dancing around these things on stage. They're really cool, really, really eerie too. I mean, they're very comfy and they're airy. And I think that those are things that the people don't, new furniture people don't do that today. They make everything oversized. So to me, there's no airflow when you look at the furniture today. It's just stagnant. And these pieces are really well made too. They're really hard to do though, guys. If you ever have these parts, I wish I had a picture for you. I don't, but they're difficult. Let me go on to say. Gene says use three stops of the black webbing on back, then support fabric to layer the cotton on the back. Theirs is a one layer of cotton and outside back and arms, two layers of cotton for the inside arms, 2-inch foam, and 4 layers over that for the seats. Working on inside arms and second chair. She's doing a fabulous job. Now I want you guys to see something here. And Jean is really, really getting good here. I want to point something out. Now you see her piping, how nice her piping is. But these are points where, let me hold on a second. Transition points are really hard to do. Now she's probably been watching my videos to do this. See how nice that piping kind of transitions from the base to the wood portion of the leg, and also the backs are even harder to do than the fronts. So what the trick there is, you guys, and I'm sure she did it, although she doesn't tell us, is before it's upholstered, you put a piece of piping. It doesn't matter what piping, extra scrap or whatever. Put it about a quarter of an inch or so above where this piping is going to go before you upholster. And then you upholster over that. So that what that does is, if she didn't have a groove, if she does have a groove, and it sometimes we do see grooves, but that creates a groove so that this piping really fits in nicely, so that your transition doesn't look wonky. And that can easily happen if you don't take the time to do that. She is, if you guys are near Jean and you want an upholsterer, she's your person. She's really good. And we got a couple of comments. Malcolm says, I've never seen lead in furniture. That's interesting. Yeah. I'm always fascinated. If I could get lead like that, I might use it. I mean, it made such a beautiful line. And it looks easier to work than the ply grip. Ply grip, you guys, as you guys know, can be a little tricky to work. It can buckle up on you, and you can cut yourself easy. Just get my finger right. It's easy to cut yourself on it. Lead is, I don't think you can cut yourself on the lead. And they had the tops. You know how on the ply grip we cut a little piece off around it. You've seen the videos, you guys. I get into these little details, these little hacks. It took a long time for me. A lot of upholsterers didn't want to give up their little hacks. You're going to get that on the station, on the YouTube channel, that will be used forever, hopefully. But I'm very generous with showing these little hacks, and I don't mind at all. But when you do your ply grip, unfortunately, you have to take your scissors, and you have to make a little curve on the ply grip. You can't cut the ply grip and use it like that because it's too sharp. With this lead, you can actually almost take your finger and go like this, and it has like a really cool quality to it. Malcolm says, I've never seen. I just read that. Elliot says, strips of lead like that used to be used by plumbers. I bought a few pounds of it for a project, not for upholstery, as recently as the 70s. Isn't that interesting, Patrick?
That's really cool.
Elliot and Malcolm and the people who listen in, you guys
Just don't eat it.
Just don't eat the lead. I used to have a boss say, get the lead out.
We had a house with lead paint, remember?
Oh, right. That explains a lot.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding, you
You
guys.
must have too.
I think it's overstated, don't you? Deborah says hello from Idaho, Patrick.
I've met Deborah on before.
Yep. And Malcolm says ply grip is annoying. I sew the corners. That's interesting. He uses a combination of ply grip and hand stitching, and I think the reason he does that is to assure that the corners. That's very thoughtful, Malcolm. Hey, you guys, if you're near Malcolm, use them. I mean, if he's this pay attention to detail and concern about a project lasting a long time. So the corners or ends of ply grip are a little bit of a problem because they can be hit or somebody moves the sofa up against the wall, whatever. What Malcolm is doing is he's taking the time to put couple of hand stitches at the corners in order to close it up, and that's really a good idea, actually. Deborah says I've never heard of that either on the lead. Only seen it one other time, I think, in a mid-century furniture. Anyhow, not seen it in anything else. Only mid-century. So that's Jean. We're going to get to these other ones here, Patrick. Boy, we haven't even gotten to most of them here, and I'm blabbing away. But this is interesting, isn't it? There's Patrick. Are you asleep back there, Patrick?
I was saying, I know, what was it, Fern was her name?
Yeah.
A lot of comments on those.
Yeah. And now, is this Fern? F?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep reminding me, Patrick, because I'm just looking at the abbreviation, and sometimes I get lost. So Fern, she says, thanks for sharing. What is the fabric they use for the back? It looks like heavy burlap. When you see the inside, she's talking about improve your furniture with this one easy trick. I'm not sure which one it is. I can't see the thumbnail's a little too small. But let me just read it through. Do you sew it right side of the fabric facing each other first, then open it flat, spread the back seam like a book, and iron it so it lays flat? Lay an additional piece of fabric. She's asking a lot of questions over the unseen seam to stitch it like a car seat, or is there any other way to reinforce it? I've not done this style before. And she says, an alternate note, I watched your live show today, February 3rd. I really like the office chair you're sitting on. Do you make it yourself? Or if you do you have any videos on it? It reminds me of a Gama's chair. Have you ever worked on a Gama's chair? The answer to that is I've never heard of it. I bet Ellie and Malcolm have, though. But anyhow, she's asking a question about improve your furniture with this one easy trick. She's asking about what materials we use on the insides, like maybe over springs. Over springs, it's a good idea to use burlap, I find. My outsides, she's talking about underlays, I think. Outsides, I like to use scrap fabrics that have a high double rub count, and burlap I don't like using on outsides because I feel burlap loosens. It's okay over springs because it has to have that quality. So it's really interesting that different materials, like the lead we just talked about, different places, different materials are used in different places on the furniture. So on the outsides, I like to use a heavy, sometimes I'll put webbing depending on how big of an outside I'm covering, just for added support. And then I put an extra scrap piece of fabric, a remnant that I have over that, and then maybe a half a layer over that. And that also is dependent on the fabric. You guys will probably get good at judging what to use. I mean, if you have a cotton cloth fabric that's a lightweight fabric, you don't want to use cotton because some of that with the white background, you can actually see the cotton seeds, even if you're using a AA cotton. So you might want to go to a half a layer of Dacron. Don't pad out the outsides a lot. Don't use a full layer of Dacron even. They're supposed to be streamlined. The only exception, are there exceptions to that? I've seen Art Deco furniture. Somebody was just mentioned Art Deco furniture that has a quality like that where they channel the outsides as well as the insides. It's the only time I could think of padded arms. I don't necessarily like padded arms, any padded arms, because I feel as though it looks too bulky, and then you're back to this heavy manufactured furniture that we see today. I don't like that. You guys have to keep. Michaela's good at this because she's the art student. I seem to have kind of like a street level appreciation for scale and things like that. They teach you that in art school, right? How to scale things out.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want a guy with one arm 10 inches longer than the other arms, things like that. I'm making it sound simple. You guys know what I mean. A good piece of art when you see it, no matter who you are, right? Right, Michaela?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to be an art student or a professional painter to appreciate fine art and appreciate fine furniture as well. Malcolm says, I already read that. Deborah says, I put masking tape over the. You guys are so good. You guys are so good. Listen to this, Patrick. Deborah, and this is a hack. Now, Deborah, I'm going to give you a little tip. She must be using Malcolm. If you read this, I have put masking tape over the Pilgrim. She's calling it Pilgrim. I'm sure she's talking about the curvies, ply grip. I always get these two mixed up. One is the curvies is a little heavier than the ply grip. I think that's how it goes, Malcolm. But so she's this is what I like about upholstery, right? Deborah's come up with her own hack what she's doing is she's bridging the pieces. She's bridging those little flaps with tape so that the fabric doesn't cut through. That's a really smart thing to do. I don't think I've ever shown that, Deborah. But you can get the lighter. I only use the lighter ply grip, the one that I don't need to use the tape. So that's a great tip. So it resembles, now that I think about it, Malcolm, it resembles more of the lead than the other stuff. Do you know what I mean? Malcolm says there's a lot of people, huge overstuffed chairs and couches that are awful. I like Nordic style and MC modern. Yeah, I agree, Malcolm. Lee says, yes, I'm in a way with the scaling since I'm a hobby. I'm sorry. Yes, in same way with scaling since I'm a hobbyist photographer. Two, I've noticed two. Let me just finish her. Two that has been learning upholstery from a church member for over a year now. So Lee, if you've got that background, I find that people with other backgrounds, like I know an upholsterer that was a carpenter. Boy, he transitioned so nicely to upholstery. He really did. He was one of the best upholsterers that I worked with. So there's these crossover trades. I didn't come with any trade when I came. I started really young, 17. But some people would think that's too late. If I were an apprentice working with my father, which I wasn't, then you'd be in the shop at 8 or 9 years old learning, you know. But having a crossover skill like photography, that really helps. It really helps. Deborah says ply grip. Deborah says it was my grandmother's hack. Did you hear that, Patrick? I love that, you guys. I love that. I love this. So every time Deborah uses this, she thinks of her grandmother, right? Isn't that wonderful? Lee says Malcolm the cot he said to not use burlap on sides is that this person did many moons ago on this Art Deco sofa. I'm taking bottom apart. I will post photo of the sofa tonight on the Facebook group. And Deborah says yes about grandma. So that's great. Let me get to some of the YouTube, Patrick. I just read Ferns. I missed you guys. See you next week. That was Malcolm, and Malcolm is here. Thanks, Malcolm. Should we do the announcement? Is it too early for that class that we're going to be doing, Patrick?
Well, I think it's already full.
What?
That's the only problem.
Wow. Well, I wanted to make.
Well, there's one spot available.
But
you said 7. It's 8. Unless, of course, you decide to do 2 days. I don't know if they offer 2 days, do they?
They will if they have the space. So we're going to be doing this. But the announcement, I was thinking, I knew the class would be full, Patrick, but I'm thinking about the live show that we're going to do with the class.
Oh yeah, we tried this before.
Well, why can't it work?
Well, we tried this before with the big cameras. We're going to take a phone there and just give you guys whatever we can capture.
So we're going to capture probably, I would say it's going to be more informational. You guys can listen. I don't think we're going to have the great angles because Patrick's got the phone. It's not going to be the great photography that the paid classes that we have online. Little drop a little bit of a hint there. One way that you could support us, right, is to buy those classes, right? Yeah. Where are those classes, Patrick?
UpholsteryOnBroadway.com.
UpholsteryOnBroadway.com on YouTube?
On our website.
They
paid classes you're talking about.
Yeah.
But they can find this when we do this. It's going to be on YouTube for free.
The 8-week, what is it, an 8-week class? And the thing that's going to be cool, I think, and that I'm looking forward to, is the entertainment value, Patrick. So we
tried it before. We tried to get everything on camera, and it's just impossible. So we're just going to go now without the high expectations. So just film everything we can get, and not try to focus in on one
But
specific thing. You know?
I see it as something we're going to have we have fun in these classes, you guys. We really do. I have a ball. I hope I have the energy to do this. So, some days are tiring. I get there and I'm tired, and I'm going to not be fueled as much. And I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do anything else. I only drink coffee. So you might see me a little tired in those classes, but because it's the end of the day too, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
But we're going to have to find a way to energize me, right? But we're going to have fun. We usually have fun. And people are so interesting that come to those classes. They're going to have 8 different projects, 8 different personalities. Patrick's going to be filming with the cameras. We've already got the permissions, so it's gonna be fun.
The class is almost full.
And those are going to be starting April 1st. Is that April
I think
1st?
it's the second week of April.
She's
I think you're right.
Lee's asking how much is the 8-week class? It's $500, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Which I still think is a bargain, you guys. I do think that's a bargain.
And that's just because of the size of the pieces that people are working on. It's not like a little painting,
Deborah's saying she wished she could come to those, but I think that we're going to show them live every. I said you should check out what day it is, Patrick.
Tuesday. I know for a fact,
Tuesdays
yeah.
for 8 weeks.
Michaela was wondering. We count at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
For 8 weeks, you guys, so you could tune in at that time and see me make all kinds of mistakes and fumble around and maybe fall a couple of times.
Somebody got cut last time, or
Oh yeah, we had
That
to
guy.
call an ambulance, did we? Did we?
I don't think it was that.
God help us if we did. That would be bad. Hopefully, that's a nice thing about upholstery. There's not really any way you can really get too badly hurt, like construction work or something like that. The worst is going to happen. You get a little cut, or you know. Fern also says upholstering on Broadway. This shellback chair would have been a perfect chair for working on. The beach has shells for the inspiration. That's called the shell. She's funny, isn't she? So I never thought about putting a shell fabric on a shell back. That's, I guess, what she's saying. That's pretty funny. And then she says again on how to upholster outside back of a tufted tub chair. Is there a way to make removable panels like with Velcro or zippers for a chair like this? Something that allows you to take it off and toss in the washer. That's a good idea. Or is slipcover is the only option? I've used an upholstery cleaner machine. It's awkward and time consuming. I really tell you, I really stress performance fabrics, so you don't have to worry about any of this. Michaela can tell you, performance fabrics are the way to go, so you don't have to worry. This sounds to me like you use maybe a fabric that gets dirty, doesn't have any codes on it or performance level on it or something like that. That's the only reason I would. But I don't like Velcro. I don't like slip covers really. I don't really do them until if I get really slow, I'll do them, but that's not my preference. I don't believe in them really. Deborah says you can staple your finger to the furniture a few times. Oh, I I have to tell this story. It's a little off color, but Patrick, I hope this is okay.
Well, remember that too, and the one about you swallowing the tax.
Well,
Not you, but somebody did that.
Somebody, yeah. Well, I had a friend who was an upholsterer that worked with me, and he was doing a roof once alone, and he shouldn't have been doing a roof by himself, right, Patrick? I think you should always. This is a word of caution. Always have a friend doing the roof with you. But he accidentally stapled his hand to the roof, and he couldn't move.
Oh my God!
And I guess he had to wait a couple of hours for somebody to come and help him. He couldn't get down off the ladder. He was okay, but I don't think upholstery is that dangerous. Deborah's wishing she could come. I wish that we could get a class with all of our supporters, Pat. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would. We talked about that traveling class.
A traveling class? You could get a van big enough just to put a shop in there or something. The Upholstery Show Live. Renee saying, how can I send pictures of a project I did after learning from your videos? How does she do that, Patrick?
I sent the link to the group.
You did?
Yep.
Did she respond, Renee? Now, good luck, Elliot. He says his next project is a knockoff Eames lounge chair by Plycraft. It's not an easy job. Well, you guys are getting skillful here. Phyllis says, this was so helpful. This is a fix a pop button. Thank you. I used your DIY method and just fixed 2 buttons on my sofa. I struggled to bend the washer. If you guys don't know about that, you should check it out. But it's a hack without the proper tools. I don't know many people who have a German needle with those clasps at home. So we developed 2 of those videos. One with that, what I just spoke of, and also a hack with the washer. You can see it. I think it works in most times. I struggle to bend the washer, however, so I trimmed down a pot. Listen, you guys, another great hack, Patrick. Listen to this.
Then you make these into videos.
This is cool. She said she trimmed down a pop can tab. You know the tab?
Yeah.
So I just had one loop and bent it instead. It worked perfectly, and I'm so grateful for your help. You guys, listen to this.
Wow.
That you know what? That's even better than the washer,
That's
Patrick.
cool.
Because getting back to the flexible materials, that has a little bit more flex in it than
All
a
you gotta
washer.
do is buy a soda.
Washers are, yeah, washers are hard because they're really heavy. But I know I could do it easy because I've got great hand strength. But for those who don't, listen to Phyllis. Another great hack. I love this. I love this. Do you remember the story of Apollo 13, Patrick?
No, I don't.
Do you remember, Michaela, about Apollo 13? Was it Apollo 13 or Apollo 11? I bet Malcolm knows. But there was a hack they used to get back. Something happened on the spaceship, and they used something like a soda can or something like that. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. You can tell this is live. You guys could do your research. But
Definitely a cool hack.
one of these Apollo missions was brought back because of a hack. It saved the lives of everybody on the ship. So that's cool. I love that. I love stuff like this. Applying trim to your French chairs. And Patrick, I have to give Patrick a shout out here for some of the thumbnail work that he's done with the French flag. I love that. And Michelle saying thank you on that one. And then we got caning to upholstery, conversion therapy. No, I didn't use that. Conversion. Stop joking, Patrick. Conversion, upholstery, and preserve your caning. Sorry, guys. Does that Jimmy? Oh no, that's not Jimmy. That's me. Thank you so much for this video. I have a chair like that one. The seat is round, and the caning is totally gone. I'm wondering, do I put the webbing like in the video, or do I put it like diameters? Does anyone know? I'm not sure what she's talking about there, but webbing has to go on top. It can't go on the bottom. It's more effective on the top, and you have to keep the webbing within where you're going to be trimming. But the video shows that. Elliot says a plywood base to the cushion screwed to the outer. It's part 2, what she was talking about, what Elliot was talking about. Oh, sorry. I actually jumped ahead. We got a lot more comments here, Patrick. Elliot says, he goes on to say, about the plycraft. Watching a video about the construction of the Eames Lounge. The cushions are made with 2 densities of foam, a thick layer covered with a thin layer. Would that be a stiffer foam over a softer one? I think it's the other way around, if I'm not mistaken. Softer foam over the, I would think. Deborah says, my friend jumped off a roof and landed on a piece of rebar, went straight to his leg, not hurt, but too bad though. Lee says, good luck with that kind of chair, Elliot. Yeah, I'll wish him luck too. It is an interesting project for sure, Don. And Don says, Elliot says, plycraft cushions are not. Is this good reading this, Patrick? Because people can read this themselves, right?
No, but
it just gives us a little bit of fill in, you guys. That's all. I like reading the comments myself. We might have to think that somebody could be visually impaired, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
So you never assume things, right? Or maybe
Listening,
somebody has. Is there such things as English translators in real time,
There
Patrick?
was a translator thing on there. There's closed captions, but I don't know if they work very well.
Oh, we can't assume. I think reading is okay, right? Elliot says it's a month or so away. I'll be making a photo gallery and sharing on the Facebook group. This is great, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah.
How many subscribers do we have exactly, Patrick? Do you know on the
I think almost 26,000.
26,000?
Yeah.
I saw some number. We got 175 recently, this year or something. Sometimes they come in bulk like
Well, we
that.
definitely got a lot more posting videos.
Now, we had a new person here, I think. How to upholster 8-way tie. Hello, brother. Nice tutorial. Hope you're doing well. BTW, which song was playing in the first half of this video? Do you remember, Patrick?
No, I tried listening. It was on the radio in the background. I couldn't make
Oh.
it.
So, super helpful. I'm a custom window treatment workroom, and I always juggling jobs, waiting on something, and making sure I have inventory for those jobs. It's another thing about inventory, right, guys? You don't want over inventory and have something sitting there and maybe never selling, but you need things on hand in order to get jobs out quickly. So maybe to keep it low inventory maybe, but that's always a trick in upholstery too. I will definitely implement this. Never thought of using post-its. I would just erase and move to the next column. Yeah, post-its. I'll tell you, post-its have saved me in that. It's making me look so much better customer service wise. It's really saved me. And did we do a video with the post-its, Patrick? Did I?
No, we did. It was in How to Run an Upholstery Shop. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was just incorporated in that. I mean, I did take the idea from somebody else, and I can't think of there's a book out there somewhere where it talks about, and you could do a lot more. You could do any business, and you can do a lot more categories than I have. I customize it. What I've done is customize it to the upholstery business, and it really works well. It really does. Hi, Kevin. Why use all ply grip there instead of straight tack strip? So, M. Reese. Do you know who that is, Patrick? The name? So that's a hot upholster outside. I don't even carry tack strips anymore. I don't like tack strips as much as I like the ply grip. I use ply grip everywhere. The soft ply grip everywhere. So come on in. Come on in. Can you go see? I just heard somebody out there, Patrick. Can you go check it out? Can you go check it out? She doesn't know which door it is. Okay, and then next one is this is Club Chair Reupholstery A to Z. Thank you for all. Sorry. Thank you for all the description in this series of videos. Questions about spring edge. This is Club Chair A to Z. I think I mentioned that. That's not. I don't think Patrick's left the room, but I don't think that's a paid class. So we've done some A to Z's. Patrick, is the Club Chair A to Z a paid class, or is that a YouTube class?
Club chair.
Club Chair.
I think that one's on the website. I think there is a club chair on YouTube.
We've done some free ones, and let me tell you something. The work that's in those things, it's not easy. Oh well, get the little violin out. Get the little violin and start playing it, Patrick. You could be a Stradivarius if you don't mind. Sounds like an interesting project. Elliot says it's. Malcolm says, "Is the phone ringing in your shop? It's too quiet here in Arizona." I'm not. Yeah, I think there was a phone ringing. So Nicolette says that thank you for all the description of the series videos. Question about spring edge. Is there another video that shows installing a spring edge or an online course that goes into detail? Spring edges, you guys, I don't like spring edges. If I can change a seat to a hot edge, I'll always do that. Spring edge seats never last. I don't care how good you are tying. And there's a different way of tying a spring edge, and I don't think I show it because I don't like it. Now, sometimes because of the frame, I know people, I don't know if I've done this. I know upholsterers who will actually build on top. Let me just say, spring edges, usually the springs are really high springs. So the distance between the top of the spring and the cross rail is very high. So that it's if you don't do something to bring the cross rail up, like build another piece of wood on top of that, it won't work. You have to do the spring edge. And a lot of times we see this on Art Deco furniture, speaking of Art Deco. And you're forced to, sometimes you are forced to learn how to do the wire edge, and they're tied differently. I guess I'll just go through a little quick on the front. They're tied differently just on the front. But when you're bringing your twine down, you need to get your twine almost level or close to level of the wood rail, which is really low compared to the height of the spring. So what you're doing is you're in the back of the spring with the twine. You're coming from the back, and you're at the back of the top of the spring, and then you run your twine through the spring in the interior of the spring out to about the second or third rung from the bottom. And the reason for that is leverage. If you were to try to tie it, you guys probably would figure this out, on your own. But if you pulled it if you tied it to the top or the second run from the top and went to pull it, obviously the whole back of the spring would tilt up. And so that there's a series of twirling that you do too, and another knot that you put in order to secure it. But a lot of it's common sense. A lot of it's common sense and the right materials for sure. Um, Thank you. This is how to use trim. Angie says thank you, really, really helpful. And she's from the UK, Patrick. Angie's from Heckington.
Wow.
Heckington. That's a cool name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where the heck is Heckington? Heckington, United Kingdom. Essential upholstery supplies. Thanks for this lesson, Fern says. Fern also says about essential upholstery supplies. Don't remember what video you said it, but you mentioned you lost your curved 8-inch needle. I thought to myself you would probably make one. I happen to be looking at a video where the guy, great leather work, is adding leather to a wooden armrest, and he bent a needle for this lesson. I don't know how you bend it without breaking. I mean, I take it, what I'm guessing is that it was a button needle that he took and he bent it. But I've never tried it, but I would think that it would just snap in half, at least the one that I have. But maybe there's a way to temper or heat it up somehow to bend it. That's another hack, though, if you can do it, right? Cool hacks. Okay, then we got one more page of YouTube. This is the Bentwood Rocker Restoration, Part 1. Linda says very helpful. Restoring a vintage 1950s Alf Svensson Danish chair. Elf, good job on restoring comfort to the seat. I cracked up when I realized this material in the Alf chair is the same color as the Alf character in the old 1980s show. Do you remember that, Patrick? Alf?
I know, before me.
I had a friend that loved that show, but that's funny. If the latex was so deteriorated on the seat, wouldn't the backrest be the same? Well, like Malcolm just pointed out, a lot of times they switched out the material, so I can't remember exactly. That was a few years ago, but it would be tested to make sure that it wasn't the latex. It probably was something else. It could have been just all cotton on the back, and cotton doesn't go anywhere. Cotton will never disintegrate. I have a gliding rock at 22 years old. I bought it when my oldest was born. It has the zigzag springs. It feels like I have, and then it goes off. I can't see what it says because it says read more, and I don't have that. And then Patrick, though, you were responsive. You said great question. Check out the videos for spring repair. And then the last one from Fern is how to attach an upholstered panel. When I watched this process on another channel, they cut the foam from really thick cardboard, punched the nails flat, glued another piece over it, and then covered the fabric. They put glue on the edges of the back. They used a mallet to pound it into the arm. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that process? It seems a little bit extensive to me, but if you don't have those panels and you need to cover them, especially if you have an edge panel, I would prefer to hand make the panel. Like Malcolm was talking about, get good at hand stitching, you guys. Because a hand stitched front panel, if you're really good at hand stitching and you really, is better than using cardboard or wood panel. Oftentimes when you're taking those panels off, you break them, you break the wood, or you rip the cardboard anyhow. So you have to figure out a way to put it back on. But I think, do I have a video on how to make hand panels on the front of arms? I started my career doing that, actually.
Yes, you do.
You guys check it out. How do you know all that, Patrick?
You hammering them on. It was one solid piece, right?
Well, that's one solid piece, but there's a way. The question was, how do you reduplicate that with material like cardboard or whatever?
I don't know if you made them. I know you put them on.
I don't do that. I'll make it all hand. I'll put it right on the piece. I'll hand do it with hand stitching. And I don't use. It's funny, Malcolm. I wouldn't use curvies on the front panel. You're just asking for trouble there. The whole thing. One side could be blind tacked, And you have to be careful doing that because the transition from stitching to blind tack can be tricky. You really have to be good with the stitching. And in this case, you can't, if you're going to do a hand panel like that on the front like that, you know how sometimes I say a little pucker here and there on some in some areas is good to show the customer that you hand did it. Not on a panel. Panel has to be perfect. It has to have nobody's expecting a little pucker on a panel. They want it perfect, no matter what it is. It's usually on contemporary furniture anyhow. So does that make sense? Lee says, since I took the entire bottom of burlap off and I see a bunch of stuffing from the inside, does that mean into the sofa has been stored in a shed for years and never wet? And Elliot says, if a mice get in, you'll find droppings, and I agree with that for sure. But anyhow, Patrick, do you have any other news except for that the live classes? Those are going to be fun, and if that class works, and we get the cooperation of this, I'm really excited about this space because we taught there before COVID. Before COVID, we were really getting on a roll, weren't we, Patrick?
Let's hope we can.
It was a lot of
restore
fun.
that.
Michaela comes and she's going to be selling fabric there, and then Patrick is doing the video, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, what was I saying? So if it works, Patrick, and we can get the people to sign up, I don't see a problem with doing more than one class.
I think if you're up for it, doing Tuesday and Thursday, that's what we used to do.
Well, there was one time when I first started teaching, I was doing 3 nights a week, 3 nights, and we could do seminars. They already told us we could do seminars there too, 1-day seminars.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they have hotel accommodations in Lexington. Lexington, Massachusetts, the famous Lexington, Massachusetts. What's it known for?
Come to Massachusetts and learn from the master.
Yeah. Maybe we could do that for our YouTube people. Maybe we could have like a
seminar. Yeah, it's only 1 day.
Like a Saturday. Yeah, but that's probably all, they can fly in and have some, we can have some fun, maybe go out to dinner or something.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
Meet up. It's called a meetup.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Well, that's what you young people call it. Let me just finish up with Malcolm says, yuck, wear a respirator to take that apart. Lee says, thanks, I will for sure wear a mask. And yes, see the droppings now. She's doing it as we talk right now.
That sounds.
Deborah says, please tell us again when the live classes are again, Patrick. Live classes.
So we try to do them every month. Oh, live classes.
Yeah,
Tuesdays starting in April.
I think it's April 1st, so April Fool's Day.
Yeah, so definitely Tuesdays, possibly Thursday if you get another class on.
Okay, you guys, you're going to see me in action, and disregard all the mistakes and the Boston accent and the mispronunciation of words. I'm going to warn you now. It's going to be
raw.
What do they
raw? No.
Raw. What do they call it? A word salad, you guys?
Whatever they say, but I think don't go into it thinking you have a high production.
Right.
We tried that, and it was too hard to get that camera to every station.
I think what it's going to be more like a Seinfeld episode, Patrick. We should have characters come in like off the street or something, just to say, hey, what's going on in here?
So we apologize now. That's what you were saying. We apologize now for filming one thing and then I have to run over to the next thing.
Well,
it's not gonna be complete project.
Yeah, you guys don't expect like A to Z on that for sure. You'll see the difference. But I think
more entertainment, like you're saying.
All we need is Jimmy to co-star, and we'll be all set.
Is he gonna be there? Do you know?
Yeah,
he is gonna go.
Let's have
He's taking the class.
Sure, he'll be my sidekick.
Are you sure? Is he really gonna be?
Yeah,
there?
he said he would.
So he's paying for a class.
No, I told him.
I was gonna say.
And Lee says, wait till you all will hear my South Louisiana voice.
Oh, wow. Pretty cool.
And Don says, comedy is a good thing. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.